The title of the show is Get Back in the Game. Now isn't the time to lose focus on your spiritual quest. With all the chaos and uncertainty happening now, it's good to shift our attention back to the spiritual awakening journey. When we begin the process of spiritual awakening, we finally wake up to life. We begin to question our old beliefs, habits, and social conditioning, and see that there is much more to life than what we have been taught. In this Life Quest Live episode, we briefly describe the various stages of the awakening path. The reality we all must accept is that the world has begun shifting and the time to catch up is right now, or else you risk getting left behind. And the most future-proof way to get ahead is by focusing on your spiritual growth. We believe your own spiritual growth is the ultimate objective of your life's quest. When your life's quest is synonymous with your spiritual growth, then life becomes more harmonious and exciting, and living stress-free and with certainty naturally follows suit.
That's true. You going to continue? Got some more to share?
No. What do you got?
I was just going to say that there's so many steps, there's so many experiences that we're all having, and this is kind of getting like you get a step forward and a step back, or a step forward and two steps back. It's not often that we get two steps forward. We're doing a lot of steps back, but we're learning. We're learning as we have each experience.
Right. So I'm sure many of you are feeling different these days. Like things are shifting in your life. There is a reason for that. Many of us are experiencing changes these days. We are being called upon to remember our true spiritual selves through a massive shift in consciousness. The days of pursuing the emptiness of money, fame, power, and respect in an attempt to find happiness are over. We must now harness the power of the shift in consciousness to experience our own involution, the inner evolution of our heart, mind, and soul. And today's keyword is
Ding, 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 ding.
Right.
Focus. Okay. So what the definition is a center of interest or activity to stay focused. Synonyms include center, focal point, central point, or center of attention. So in this live stream, focusing on what stage you're at in your spiritual quest is the question. So as we go through the list, then spot where you are and know that you're getting closer to fulfilling your life's quest. You're fulfilling your spiritual understanding of what's going on. You won't be so dazed and confused. You'll have more understanding of the bigger picture that's happening, because there's a lot of civil unrest. It's showing in our bodies. We've got shift symptoms, lots of stuff that's going on. So Todd, I'm happy to be here.
all right, good.
I always like to say that first.
Yeah. All right, so what is the first?
Well, it's kind of like elementary,
Okay.
my dear. It's
Yeah.
elementary, my dear.
What?
Hang on. That's the cafe. They're getting an order. There we go. They picked up. Okay, so the elementary stages. Okay, so there's unhappiness, an empty feeling. We're confused, as if nothing's making sense. And you hadn't felt that way until this shift is really compounding. As Marcel reminded me, this shift has always been around, but it's compounded, which is why we're having all of these different sensations, feelings in our body, energy depletion, energy raising. We don't know where we are, don't know where to be, we don't know what to do. We're getting past where life was rote. Or is it still rote? Is it get up, go to work, take the kids, just what in your life is rotating over and over every day.
And you might even actually, people that have been in one career for their whole life and might have invested a lot of money into that career are ready to shift and try something different, you know. So it doesn't matter how much you have invested in your old life, right? Because that's more of a third dimensional life. So now we're moving into a fourth dimensional perspective.
Well, I believe that is tied to how we have been taught certain belief systems of how to climb the corporate ladder, if you will. But there's no joy, there's no happiness. You wake up, you just don't have that energy and gumption to just make it and create a great day. And you're realizing something that's on the back burner. It could be a hobby. It could be something that you have
Right.
more joy in, that you would really like to explore and develop. And so then you're realizing, these are some of the signs that I got to shift out of where my path, the 3D, as Todd mentioned, into being your soul self, your spiritual self, and develop those God-given gifts and talents. That's what's missing. That's what's missing for a lot of people.
Yes.
So also you're in a place of where it's hard to think clearly because you got this living in third dimension, and then your fourth dimension self shows up, so you're not clear thinking. Your mind is all muddled up. You're bewildered. And worse, I think, is that there's a lack of tolerance,
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right, so the next stage, you could say, is when you are ready to stop complaining and being a victim, your perceptions start to shift slowly.
Very
slowly. All right, so you're thinking it takes too long, you want instant success, you're anxious because you're having somewhat of an understanding of what's going on. You are in a hurry, compared as if everyone else's lives work out.
Yeah, we compare. We check what the neighbor's doing. We check what family members are doing, the sister, the brother, the older sister, the younger brother, and vice versa. And we just do this comparison thing, like we're not where we need to be. But that's more on third dimension belief versus fourth dimension of if you won't care, you're doing what you enjoy. You wake up just happy to create the next day. Or that day.
And you don't want to do the great work, which is the self-reflection, the self-therapy. You want change to be handled for you, right? That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Right. Paradigms, in this stage, paradigms can't happen fast enough. You're exhausted because you have somewhat of an idea of what is going on. It's almost like when The Secret came out and everybody started learning about the law of attraction. So you have an understanding of it, but it doesn't work because you don't understand that it's more than just your thoughts, it's your beliefs, it's your action with the thoughts and the beliefs all working together to create that.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the word integrity. You're out of integrity with yourself.
Out of alignment.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you're, again, muddling through conversations in your head about where you want to be versus where you are, because that constant alignment and realignment is integrity is pushing you to find that harmony in your own life. So life often seems unfair when you're kind of stuck in that position.
Absolutely.
But it's just momentum. It's there to help you to take the next step out of 3D.
Right. So now we have the next stage. Now we're seeking answers and meaning. Lifelong thoughts that are deep within yourself are bubbling up for you to notice, to identify, to recognize, and to deal with. Accept those, whether they're tormented beliefs or some type of beliefs you had old that's deep within you. You have to work through those beliefs. So in the end, you have to accept the beliefs, then transcend them.
It's kind of like we shove them back in the recesses of our mind, and then we're forced, because of the shift, we're literally being forced to reflect and reevaluate and put those things on the front burner.
Right.
So that's a lot of what the shift is about, definitely on a personal level.
Right. The more beliefs that you reconcile, the less beliefs you'll have to reconcile. And once you actually reconcile all your beliefs, that's when you'll shift to the next level of consciousness.
True integrity, harmony, all those great keywords, alignment. Okay, so as it's part of it, though, you begin to question. You begin to question everything. That's where it's key for you. So you're open to new thoughts and ideas because as you question, you get ideas and new thoughts, and you're going to be willing to explore them. So there's a big difference there. People around you might not. People around you might think you're crazy.
Right. I mean, you definitely begin to see the bigger picture of, the overarching shift in consciousness or the great awakening, however you want to label it. You're starting to see glimmers of light, hope. You're starting to realize you're not crazy. There is something going on in reality, and now you're aware of it. It's happening anyways, whether you know it or not.
Well, I think that's the beauty of now time.
Oh,
Now time
absolutely.
is you can't ignore everything that's going on. There's no
Right.
way to. It's too loud. It's too in our face. Looks like politics. It's all part of the shift. So okay, so then we
All right.
get beyond that
Yep.
stage of kind of want. We got one more want because we're still trying to get there. And as we kind of get there, we might double think, or there's a word. I'll come up with it. But answers begin to show themselves. You'll start to have more breakthroughs. And underestimate is the word I was looking for. We begin to underestimate as we kind of get further along, and then we underestimate and we fall back because we get back into the swirl of life and every day, whether it's a grocery store, trip down the street to take the kids, we fall back into all of the setups. We've been set up. So if you're not in your purpose and passion, then it's you fall back into it easily. So it's going to cause more anxiety, confusion, as you try to sort out the mess. But I really want to make it fun. I want to make it like exploratory and adventurous, because in the process, it's hard to remain calm. It's hard to rest. We do too much. We think too much. We thunk too much. We ruminate too much.
Right. Yeah.
One moment you're in third, and you're barely in fourth. And that's this. Actually, I think people are going to have whiplash as
Right.
they go to fourth and then fall back to third. And you got this momentum happening in your body, more shift symptoms. So.
And I'd say this is more of stages from third to fourth dimension is the premise of this talk, actually.
Yeah, it's a lot of people are not even recognizing that kind of language. It's okay, you don't need it. You don't need that kind of language. But for those of us who do, there's a knowing that we know. We have a bigger picture. We understand the stages. And so if you're kind of stuck in third, you can go, whoa, that's third stuff that I used to do. I don't do that either so much, or I don't do that anymore.
Right.
So that you can get planted into the fourth, because fifth is right around the corner.
Right. So then I'd say the fifth stage would be disillusion. You're feeling lost. You have an understanding of what's going on. Your world's being tossed upside down. You could almost call this the dark night of the soul. You can't eat. You can't sleep. You're easily disturbed. You can't stand noises.
I want to interrupt you because I experienced. I didn't realize it was the dark night of the soul because it was well over. I'll date myself. 20 years ago, 30 maybe, but noises, even the ticking clock.
Yes.
The clock
yes.
that's somewhere in the room, and it's just, and it's loud, and it's really loud. So.
But see, that's telling you something because really every time it ticks, it's saying now, 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 now. So it's keeping you in the present moment.
Keep me in the present moment, unable to sleep.
Right.
I mean, I lost weight. I just couldn't eat. Everything was just making me sick. So anyway,
But at this
I just want to add that you get past it as you start getting into alignment of who you really are. So that's kind of when things kind of fell into place. I got rid of this, got rid of that, got this out of the way, got that out of the way, and it just helped align the path, a clearer path. And then I began to get healthy again, and I wasn't so.
Right, and this is where your life actually starts shifting because before that, you were going a certain way and you created momentum. So when you shift, you still have momentum going that way. So you're still attracting all sorts of craziness. Even now that you know to shift, you still have that momentum from your past thinking still playing out on you. So you don't want to lose hope at this point. You want to get back up. You want to get back in the game, because really it's also the divine testing you. Are you ready for this shift? Of course you are. So you want to refocus. You want to come more from curiosity at this point. You want to find the adventure in this whole process.
Play with it.
Right.
And enjoy the hiccup that's staring you in the face, because as soon as you understand that hiccup, it's out of the way. You've moved it over, shoved it over, pushed it back, and evolved past it.
Right.
So it's really cool. So this inner work, it starts to pay off, and that's a blessing. Okay, you evolve, and you're at a higher level of existence. You think on a different level, different scale. You aren't as disconnected from the life as you were before.
Right.
There's true disconnection, but we don't know that.
So when we're talking about this, we are talking about the shift in consciousness. And for people that really don't know what that is, it is a vibrational shift that humanity's going through. So as we shift into a higher vibrational existence, it does do things to your body, mind, and spirit. And that's really the shift symptoms. Excuse me. So that's kind of what we're going through, is all the different stages that you would go in a very, from a third to a fourth dimensional perspective.
I do want to bring up that Selena Harris is here. She's from Knots, UK. Hey, Selena.
Nice.
And also listen to this from Diana. She says, wow, that is so me right now, constantly wearing noise-canceling headphones.
Yes.
She can't eat. It feels like too much noise. I mean, yeah.
Yes,
You're right.
I agree.
You're more than halfway through if you're at that stage.
Right.
Keep going. Don't stop. Thanks for sharing, Diana. Okay, so getting to the inner work.
All right. So now, right, so I think we just went through part of that, right?
yeah.
You're at a higher level. We're at a
Right.
higher vibrational frequency.
But I think it's always about the inner work. Because once you finish some of the inner work, you've got another piece that's...
Oh, even till you get to the even... Really what you're trying to do is, it's the involution of yourself, not evolution. Evolution is objective. Involution is you're putting effort to go within your consciousness. Now, you only can go so much effort. Then there's going to be a point where can't put any more effort, and then your true self comes from the depths of you. And then what happens is you have a conscious mind, you have a subconscious mind, simple. So it's almost like your subconscious mind, where 90% of your world is created. Remember, you're only using 10% of your brain, which is your conscious mind. So the shift, when you truly shift into the fifth dimension, your subconscious mind comes and squashes your mind, your conscious mind. You have no more mind. You're like a ghost in the machine. And now you're living from the perspective of your subconscious mind. And everybody knows all your power comes from your subconscious mind. It runs 90% of your life, but you don't have access to that 90%, the conscious access that you will have. So that's when intuitiveness, telepathy, instant manifestation, all that's going to come on board, and your whole existence will change. Rhythm, law of harmony will come into your life.
What's really cool about that is as you go through so many steps, you will have those experiences. You'll have more instant manifestation. You'll think about something and then it'll walk in the door. It'll be a phone call and you'll be like, whoa, that happened really quick.
Right.
So you are touching on it. And telepathy, it's almost like you can read each other's minds, or even somebody that you have to make a phone call and, they call you because they were on the same thinking of, wow, gotta get with Susie because she understands that we want to develop it. I mean, I'm just giving you context sensitive examples, but.
And then there's other aspects of it, because there's other aspects of all of us, right? Because we all have an oversoul, and then we have different perspectives of the oversoul. So I'm Todd in this realm, right? In this time, right? Because I don't want to go into all that, but there's many different perspectives of yourself in different eras of time. You literally, the veil of that is going to start thinning out, so you're going to be able to talk to other aspects of yourself. You're actually going to be able to talk to other beings that are multidimensional. We think we see all of reality. We see such a schnibble of it. you know.
Yeah, it's pretty physical what we do, but we kind of veer off.
Mm.
And you know
Right.
what I've been noticing too is that sometimes I'll sit with a friend, I'll sit with a coworker, and then I'm like, oh, I wanted to tell you about blah blah blah, and I'm like, I can't remember what it was because it was when I went off somewhere. It's kind of like I split off
Right.
and had an experience on another
Yes.
pancake level, right? You used to explain it as
Right. I didn't want to go into all that. But really, time is, if you look at time, right? So I have an aspect of myself in ancient Egypt. I have another, say, now, let's just say I have, like Bashar. Bashar, if anybody knows Bashar, is in the 25th century, and he comes back in time and channels through the other perspective of him, which is, I can't remember his name. They're actually two perspectives of the same oversoul, Bashar, if anybody knows the channelings of Bashar. So that's a future aspect of himself coming back in time to talk to us.
yeah, we're put on the
You
spot,
know.
so I'm not remembering his name.
Bashar, Daryl Anka.
Yeah.
So they're two perspectives of the same oversoul. Now, we all have that, though. We all, at night, when you go to sleep, you literally sneak out of your conscious, your consciousness sneaks out of your body and goes and has like a little round table meeting with all the other aspects of your oversoul. It gets very confusing and convoluted. And
Well,
you
for
really don't
for
need
us human people, us
Right.
3D human people, we understand it when we kind of not so wrapped up into thinking that we're just all material and me and want and need. When we get past all of that, which is what the steps are about. That's what the shift is about. We got to shift out of that shit.
Right. All right, so the last stage is you want to integrate your life with more expansion and joy. So now you're going to start to experience more synchronicity. You experience more calmness in your life. Happiness definitely comes from within,
It's almost like instead of trying to grab at life and fix this and fix that, you're able to have that calmness, and it comes to you. Like life and situations will come to you. You don't have to work so hard at it or think that you have to, really jump on top of it
Right.
and to get what you want.
And that's another, another way to really get deep within yourself is just sit in silence. And then just try to stay in that silence. And more, it doesn't matter. Who knows how your inner self is going to speak to you? It could be visualization. Maybe your eyes are closed, you're going to get visuals. Maybe it's emotional, they're sending emotional exchanges with you. You don't know what it is. But if you do know that your ultimate goal is to go within yourself, so that's quiet. See, every time you're looking in the objective reality, you're amazed by the objective reality, right? It's keeping you occupied, right? You listen to music. Music is good to calm yourself, but you have to go into the silence to truly, truly find yourself. Because you almost got to write off the objective reality. You're like, all right, I'm bored with everything. I'm ready to go inside.
Do you know, Todd, as you're talking, the word minimalist comes to mind?
Absolutely.
So as we minimize and make our lives less complicated because we don't need it. We don't need things. We can scale down. We can live in tiny houses.
Yeah.
And situations where it's just not important anymore. So as you minimize sitting calmly, enjoying nature, sitting by yourself,
Yes.
there's joy in that. And another part of the stages is finding that joy because you're reintroducing yourself to yourself.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So, okay, so we lose the competition. We have less anxiety. We have less stress. We have less effort.
Right.
So
Now you still have the law, like the, in the beginning when you're getting into the higher levels of consciousness, you still. I guess when everything's going good, something's going to happen and make it go bad. And really what you're trying to do is to level off so it's not like this. You're trying to get it so maybe it's like this. So that's all just trying to, right? We always teach a lot. Stimulus, response. the more wisdom you have, the better response you'll have to that stimulus. Because the reality is, nothing can affect you. It's how you look at what's affecting you.
How you react.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so Todd, a couple of things. Selena's saying absolutely, and she also says she's at a stage where she is so calm and at peace within, and it's very wonderful.
Nice.
Linda says thanks for all your enlightenment. Marcel says he loves us and to enjoy the quiet. Okay, joy of silence. Actually, he says.
Absolutely.
Joey's here from Louisiana. Woo woo woo!
Nice.
Mississippi and Louisiana.
Yeah.
Real close. Oh, you know what? Let me think. It's gone on my in front of me, but Oron.
Oron.
So his last name is Lingo.
Yes.
So I'm not reading it, Oron. So sorry, but he says the nature is the lingo. And he enjoys nature, nature and his homestead that he lives on that we know all about. But anyway, so I'm losing some of the, Facebook always wants to put the best ones on top. I see them all as best, but I get lost here. Joy says peace. But before we go, and we only got a few minutes, I really want to touch upon, and I'm just kind of throwing this out there, I really want to talk about how what's going on in the world right now is going, I don't know if you want to call it side by side with the shift.
Yes.
All that angst and politics, and I just really want to talk about what's really in front of us, because we got to get off of the red and the blue and the right and the left, and we're going to talk about the dark versus the light.
Right. You could say it's dark versus light. You could say it's freedom versus communism.
Tyranny.
Right.
So it's going hand in hand. You might not like the players. You may not like the one that's kind of pushing this all up and bubbling it all up for us on a worldwide scale, but it's part of the shift.
Right.
It's the disclosure aspects of the shift so that we can get to the spiritual aspects of the shift.
Right.
We got to get rid of all of the corruption, and you don't have to like it. Don't turn your TV on. I recommend you don't turn your TV on.
Right.
They don't give you the right information. They're just kind of keeping you stuck and lost and angry at your neighbor because they think different than you.
Yep.
But I really wanted to touch on that because we're going hand in hand with it. Doesn't mean you have to like it.